Get ready!
Well, hey there, welcome to my house of cards. My name's Hoodlie, and today we are going to start in on this week's deck quest, featuring my current build for Pure Phantom Knights, a ghastly group of ghosty boys, or girls, I'm not entirely sure what they are, they're kind of just glowing blobs with cute eyes, that banish themselves for a lot of effects, and combined with the power of their many friends, we can summon a whole bunch of extra deck monsters. Meaning you could also refer to this as like PK Toolbox or something, but I like calling it pure PK. Actually, no, screw it. This week is PK Toolbox 2021. Because really, why not? You might be wondering why I'm not just playing like, I don't know, PK Fire or something. In all honesty, I tried playing it, and I do admit, just in terms of like objective quality and competitive viability, PK Fire is probably better. But I just have a lot more fun playing Pure Phantom Knights. I just think this build's a lot more fun than the builds of PK Fire I tried. So we're doing this week, and that's pretty much it. So let's get into the build real quick because I don't want to be super long-winded. We got 3 scale, 3 boots, 2 greaves, 2 gloves, and 2 cloak for our Phantom Knights, 3 copies of an honorary Phantom Knight, 2 pairs of the Psychic Brothers, Tracker and Wielder, 3 copies of Dante's Waifu, some weird furball thing who's just old as dirt by this point, and 3 spots for hand traps. You can play whatever you want. I'm playing Ghost Ogre just because, I don't know, I think she's more interesting. In terms of spells, we got a way to get our Phantom Knights, a way to dump the Phantom Knights, a way to make sure our Phantom Knights go through, along with some back row removal and this new fancy schmancy rank up magic. It's super neat. And then for traps, we got 3 Imperm, just because why not? A free monster that's a trap card for some reason, along with 3 Foggy Swords and 1 not Foggy Sword. For our extra deck, we have, what the heck is this and where is its face? I seriously can't tell. Some kind of online cat girl, I don't know. A couple Nightmares, Rusty, a very angry gun dragon, a broken sword, 2 of them in fact, a Book of Moon on legs, this thing who I assume is a bunch of birds in a suit of armor because it's a raid raptor for some reason, a trio of angry dragons, and a giant thunder Gundam. And then the side deck, which I'll go over in just a little bit. So, Phantom Knights. They're really cute. I don't know why I think they're cute, but I just think they're cute. Like, look at Boots. Look at Boots. Look at his little round face. So adorable. And also, I just think these guys are neat. Like, there's something about their whole gimmick and play style. It just makes them a really interesting thing to mess around with. Especially when we have all these really generic extenders that we can play in tandem with them that you can't usually play in something like PK Fire. You could, but some of them might not be as useful as just playing Pure Phantom Knights. If you want to play pure PK Fire, sure, go right ahead. But I have a lot of fun with this, and honestly, I'm actually kind of proud of how this is made because I don't tend to make very good decks, but this has actually been working out pretty well, so let's just go over what everything does. Terra Scale is their newest starter, and it's honestly really good, which is probably why it's so expensive right now. I hope the price goes down soon so I can build this in real life. It lets you discard 1 card to send a Phantom Knight card from the deck to the grave, except itself, and if it's in your grave when you banish another Phantom Knight, which is their whole thing, you get to summon it for free. So it's just a free extender that also acts as a foolish burial on legs. What's not to like? Then we got 3 copies of Boots, the cutest one, and probably the best in terms of pure utility. If you control a Phantom Knight, you can just slap this guy on board, and then, while he's in your grave, you can banish him to add a Phantom Knight spell trap from your deck to your hand. Most of the time, you're probably going to get something like Fog Blade, just for extra disruption, or the quick play rank up magic. So that's pretty nice. Just a really useful way to net more advantage. Then we have 2 copies of Stained Greaves. This guy also came out in whatever set this was released in. I can't remember. A lot of the sets nowadays are so generic, I can't remember what they're called. And he's pretty neat. If he's in your hand when a Phantom Knight is special summoned, you can summon him for free, and then you have the option to increase his level by 1, which I don't do very often, but the option is nice. You can also banish him from the grave to special summon a Phantom Knight from hand, and then again, possibly increase his level by 1, which I don't do very often. Not as useful as Boots or Scale, but certainly a useful card to have. Then we have 2 copies of Gloves. This guy can banish himself from the grave in order to send any other Phantom Knight card from the deck to the grave, which, yeah, basically means he's a Foolish Burial that you can Foolish Burial, which is just kind of funny to me. Also, if he's used as material for a Dark Xyz monster, that monster gains 1,000 attack, which, that can come in handy sometimes. Cloak has a really stupid on-field effect that I never use, and neither will you. But also, it can banish itself from the grave to add a Phantom Knights card from your deck to your hand, except itself. Or rather, the Phantom Knights card, which means it can't search Fogblade or Sword or the rank up magic because names are silly. And that's pretty much it for the Phantom Knights. There are more Phantom Knights, and if you want, you can mess around with them. You can play around with the ratios of these guys. Maybe you don't want to run Gloves. Maybe you want to run 3 Greaves. Maybe you don't want to run Cloak at all. I don't know why you wouldn't. Maybe you want to run some of the weirder ones, or some of the weirder traps, and just kind of mess around with them. And that's totally fine. That's up to you. This is just kind of a basic outline for what to build upon when making a PK deck. And then we have just, again, a whole bunch of extenders along with an alternate starter card, starting with Kagamucha Knight, he's pretty much a Phantom Knight. It's level 3 Dark Warrior with no attack or defense, and if you normal summon a level 3 monster, you can just slap him right on board. And it's not once per turn, so if you have, multiple copies of him in your hand, you could just summon all of them. So that's pretty awesome. And then Psychic Tracker and Wielder can summon themselves for free if you control a level 3 monster. All of our monsters are level 3, so that's not going to be very hard to fulfill. And they also have other effects when they're used as synchro materials, but we don't have any synchros in the extra deck. If you want, you could add them. Personally, I tried playing Brionic, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, and it worked pretty neat. It was kind of a cool thing to add, so you can just tech in some weird level 6 or 9 synchros in here if you want. Then we have our alternate starter tour guide from the Underworld. She just summons a level 3 Fiend, which can be another copy of herself. She doesn't say she can't do that, which is pretty weird. Most of the time, if you want to make an Xyz, you'll just summon another copy of herself. Or if you want to make a Link, you summon Sangan because you can then link it away and then get a monster for next turn. Because pretty much every monster in the deck, except Tracker for some reason, has less than 1,500 attack. Including Ghost Ogre. You could search all of the usual hand traps except for, Nibiru. Which is kind of weird to think about. But yeah, that's our monster lineup. Obviously, you can mess around with these. Just like anything, I'm not here to be just an absolute blueprint or rule on how to build a deck, but I'm more of a guideline, I guess you could say. And then for spells, it's pretty basic. Rhoda lets you search the Phantom Knights. Foolish Burial lets you send Phantom Knights to the grave. This helps to protect against certain hand traps. And then we got Twin Twisters to get rid of back row, which is weirdly popular in this format. And also, we tend to go to the casual server first, and they tend to play back row more. I don't know. It really just depends. But it's useful to have, and you can always just pitch it for Scale or something. And then we have the rank up magic that they got in whatever set we got this. I don't remember what it is. And the way it works is kind of strange. Basically, you can banish any number of dark monsters from the graveyard and then target a Dark Xyz monster you control. Then special summon another Xyz monster from your extra deck, whose rank is the rank of that monster plus however many monsters you banished. We're pretty much just using it to turn Rebellion into Requiem, so we just need to summon, one. That's really all that matters. Also, I thought you could use this to turn, Break Sword into Evil Swarm Ophion, but no, you can only use it to summon Phantom Knight, Raid Raptor, or Xyz Dragons. So, worth keeping in mind so you don't screw up like I do. Read your cards, it's important. Imperm's just Imperm. It's just a thing we use. Shade Brigandine can summon itself as a level 4 monster. And if you don't have any trap cards the turn you set it, you can just play it. So that's nice. Fogblade is the infamous searchable fiendish chain. Target a monster, negate its effects. It can't attack or be targeted for attacks. And you can also banish it from the grave as a monster reborn for any Phantom Knight, which I don't know if a lot of people remember. Sword does the same thing, but it just increases a monster by 800 attack, so that's nice too. But the fact that they have graveyard effects themselves, that's pretty cool. And then for the extra deck, we have Cherubini, which we can use to dump more Phantom Knights to the grave, Masquerena to summon one of the Nightmares on our opponent's turn, the Nightmares for spot removal, Rusty, which can send a Phantom Knight to the grave to set something like Fogblade or the rank up magic, and also pop cards whenever a Dark Xyz, which is pretty much all of our Xyz, is summoned to one of his arrows. So that's cool. Also, if he's destroyed, we can banish a Fogblade, revive him, and he still has an arrow that we can summon to, so that's nice. Boral Sword to steal games. Break Sword, which has a really cool effect. Once per turn, you can detach a material, target a card on both players' fields, and then destroy them. And if this card is destroyed, which includes by its own effect, you can special summon 2 Phantom Knights with the same level from the grave, and then increase their levels by 1, which is how we get into cards like Evil Swarm Nightmare, who can just Book of Moon something when it's summoned. It doesn't target or anything. That's super cool. We can also use them to make Raider's Knight, which can turn itself into Ark Rebellion Exige Dragon. This absolutely stupid, just take my ball and go home card is absolutely stupid. If it's Xyz summoned, which this counts as, yeah, it's treated as a Xyz summon, can't be destroyed by card effects, so that's nice. You can detach a material from this card and it gains attack equal to the total original attack of all other monsters on the field, and if it has a Dark Xyz monster as material, which pretty much all of our monsters are, you also negate the effects of all other face-up monsters, but you can only attack with this thing for that turn. Frankly, if you need to attack with more than this card in that turn, something is probably wrong, because this thing is absolutely stupid. Our other Xyz Dragon is Dark Rebellion, which can detach 2 materials and target a face-up monster, half its attack, and then this gains the attack. Something cool about these two is that their attack gain is permanent. That's kind of interesting. We pretty much just use him to use the rank up magic to turn into Dark Requiem, which, yeah, he's just pretty awesome. It's a rank 5 with 3,000 attack and 2,500 defense, and while it has Dark Rebellion as material, it has an effect to pretty much do the same thing, except it reduces its attack to 0, and then this gains its attack, so that's pretty cool. But the main reason you summon it is because if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can just detach a material, negate it, and that's it. So you do need Dark Requiem, you do need Dark Rebellion. You can't just use Raider's Knight, rank up into it, and then have 2 free monster negates. You need Dark Rebellion and the rank up magic, which is kind of annoying, but I can understand why. It'd be way too easy to just do that. And then we have Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, Sky Thunder. Probably one of the most ridiculously awesome, appropriate names to be given to any monster released in 2020. This thing is absolutely stupid. If an Xyz monster battled this turn, you can just slap this thing on top of an Xyz monster you control. Then, as a quick effect, you can detach 2 materials, super dark hole the entire field, just because, which is, this card is absolutely insane. And then, once per turn, if another card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, your opponent specifically, you can take a card from your hand, deck, or extra deck and attach it to this as material. So, you probably don't have to use its effect again, but the fact that it can is good enough. So, yeah, pretty much all of these monsters are here to do one of 3 things. Either work for spot removal, which is pretty much just the Nightmares and Break Sword, form disruptions, like in the form of Nightmare or Dark Requiem, and Zeus to a very extreme extent, or end games, like in the case of Ark Rebellion or Boral Sword. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. You just use these guys, spam the field, summon these things, depending on the situation, because they're fairly loose in how to get to them. A lot of these cards kind of just say like, hey, if you do a thing, do a thing. You summon this thing, you summon another thing, do a thing. Banish these guys to get more things. It's all very loose and abstract, and you don't really have a set line for where to go in terms of combo plays, which is why I really like this deck. It's a lot of fun, and it's surprisingly consistent, or at least more consistent than my decks usually are. And the rest of the side deck cards are pretty much just ways to go second, because this deck is not super good going second. It can't go through a lot of disruption. At least in my experience, it can't go through a lot of disruption. And if we go up against monsters that like can't be targeted or something like that, we would need to summon something like Arc Rebellion, which requires to play like Raider's Knight, and all of that is just... sometimes we just can't do that if we're up against too many disruptions. So we got stuff like Lightning Storm and Feather Duster, Triple Tactics Talent. This is another way to just... It's really, really useful. I really think it might be a good idea to swap in some side deck cards when going to the competitive matches. That might be a good idea to do. Dark Ruler, because it's useful. Forbidden Droplet, which also lets us dump some PKs, so that's nice. And Lost Wind, because I like Lost Wind. But yeah, this is pretty much just the build I'm going with for my Phantom Knight Toolbox / Pure PK 2021. I still don't have a way to outro this video, but hey, if you're interested in seeing how it works and what the deck can do, stick around, and we'll be doing the casual and then competitive duels in the next couple days, so stick around for that. But until then, thanks for hanging out at my House of Cards. I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.